Hello, my name is Branden Williams, and I was a part of the Goof Troop this semester for small group communication. I was paired with Liana, SJ, Amanda, and Obed, and we went by the name Goof Troop. At first, everybody was a bit hesitant, as college students normally are, and we weren't really sure, how the experience was going to be. As it went on, though, we became friends, and it was a nice experience. But along the way, there was things we did okay and not so well. Today I'll talk about three concepts. Some we did, okay, and some we did not so well. First, I'll look into conflict management styles, specifically accommodation. And this is something we did, we were in between on, just depended on the day and the week, and in the time. Then I'll look into power bases, which is legitimate power, expert power. Those are really the two I'll focus on. This is something we actually excelled in, and I think it helped our group greatly. And then finally, I'll look into the climate, specifically disconfirming responses. This is something our group very struggled in greatly. We had so many disconfirming responses throughout the year that it would hurt our climate, the group climate, and I think this is really what kind of this is something we need to work on. And towards the end, we did get a little bit better in it, but I definitely think disconfirming responses was our worst thing throughout the semester. So anyways, I'll jump right into it. First, I'll start with conflict management styles. Conflict is described in the book. Williams, Wilmot, and Joyce Hawker defines conflict as an expressed struggle between at least two interdependent people who perceive incompatible goals, scarce resources, and interference from others to achieve specific goals. It goes on to describe it in better terms by saying conflict results from differences between group members, whether it be perception, personality, information, culture, or power and influence. I personally see conflict as when a group clashes, just simply, when two people or more don't get along, whether it's someone disagrees, like I said, or maybe just time or resources don't allow for a plan of action to work out. There are many aspects of conflict, obviously, but specifically I look into conflict management styles, and even deeper, accommodation. The book describes the accommodation style as someone trying to make conflict go away by giving in to the wishes of others. People do it for several reasons. Such as they have a high need for approval. They just want to be liked. Everybody, wants people to like them so they can get along. And second, some people do it for their own needs. They think, this group project really doesn't mean much to me, so I'll just give in for this one, make people like me, and then further down the road when I need to serve my own needs, they'll like me, and they'll vote my way, and it'll be a little bit easier. Kind of manipulative. So sometimes that happens. There was a time earlier in the year when we were thinking about where we wanted to meet, and this is where we struggled with it. We were like, well, where do you guys want to meet? Everyone was like, it doesn't really matter. We ended up meeting in Prospector. Just we didn't really care. We just said, all right, we'll meet there. And in the end, it ended up hurting the group because we met in a place where the surroundings weren't very good for us. It was loud, a lot of people talking from the outside, and it hurt us. We didn't take the time to handle the conflict of where we needed to meet, and it hurt us because we just chose a place, and it ended up not working out. But then later in the semester, we went the other route. We took extra time to achieve a better result. Specifically, this happened when we were working on our final group project. We wanted to raise money for children at an elementary school, Piedmont Elementary School, and first we were like, well, we could just get companies to donate money, and we could give it to them. It's quick; it'd only take a few hours. We don't have to put in too much work. But then we thought about, we're like, that's the easier way. Let's take time, put some effort into this, and come out with a better result. So we did a bake sale for an entire week where we all put in, hours on hours and on hours to not only make it happen, but also raise more money, and it ended up rewarding us because we raised not only the money from the bake sale, but also from outside companies. So we ended up getting about $300 for the school. So all around it worked pretty well. And that's a way we made, you know, the accommodation side of it worked out because instead of just giving in, we took the other route and came out with a better result. I think in the future, I definitely think, say I'm at work and people are just kind of giving in because it's the easier way. It's the end of the week and we're all tired. I'll tell everyone, say, hey, look, don't don't just accommodate because it's the easier route. We need to actually think about this and let's take the extra time to get the better result in the end. So I definitely think in my work experience this will help me. Because I'll be able to tell people, look, it really matters when you take a little bit extra effort and come out with a better result for the company and for yourself because it's self-rewarding. Next, I'll look into power, which is described in the book as the ability of one person to control or influence some other person or decision. So power in a small group is reflected in an individual's ability to get other members to conform to his or her wishes. Basically, it's just using your knowledge or social power to get your way, right? It's all about influence. For today's discussion, I want to look into John French and Bertrand Raven's power bases, specifically legitimate power and expert power. Legitimate power comes when a group member is appointed to a leadership role. It comes from occupying a position of responsibility. So basically, it's like how we appoint a president. He has now the power to rule over the group or the country. I think this is something we did very well. We from the start said, "Hey, why don't you take the lead on this? Let's Amanda, you are going to be the leader for this this project, or Obed, you're going to have the leading role in this side of the project." And it worked out very well. And then we also had a moment when expert power, which stems from the group's ability based on, or somebody has better knowledge in a topic, so we let them take the leadership. And I remember during our group project, Liana had a lot of resources at the elementary school, and she was very knowledgeable about raising the funds for them and what they needed. So we let her take the role or the lead role. This is something. It could have went wrong if we just appointed somebody, but we took the time to find out who was the most knowledgeable, and we appointed them using expert power to handle it. And by realizing that different projects take different kind of you want to go about appointing people different ways. It certainly helps in the future. For example, if I'm going into a racing project where I know a lot about the sport and the drivers, I will take the lead role because I know, hey, I'm knowledgeable about this. I can appoint people where they need to be based on their skills, and I have the resources to handle it. But then there might be other times where let's say it's football. I'm going to take I'm going to step back a little bit and let somebody that's more knowledgeable have the power. I'm going to trust them. And it's definitely something that I'll do more in the future rather than just saying, oh, I always want to be the leader. And, I think in the end it would help the group. Finally, I'll look at the response aspect of group climate, which my group I think did poorly on, or was something we definitely needed to work on. Whereas a supportive group climate would see several confirming responses such as direct acknowledgement, supportive responses, and so on. But we had a lot of disconfirming responses. Excuse me. The book defines disconfirming responses as responses that cause people to value themselves less. In my own words, I would describe it as a verbal or nonverbal action that makes another person feel less about themselves or just uncomfortable. Obviously, nobody wants that. It makes you, feel detached from the group. It's not good for the group, and it's not good for yourself because it becomes a divide. I think this is something that we definitely struggled with, not only from the beginning of the group project, but even towards the end when everyone was like, oh, is this semester almost over? Specifically, I'll look at impervious responses, which occurs when one speaker fails to acknowledge another speaker's communicative attempt, which was most prevalent in our group. Somebody would say something, and it would go unnoticed, so it made them kind of feel left out. I remember there was one time in the group where I mentioned that we should, for our final group project, let's get some of the athletes that attend the school and let's get them to visit a local hospital, and make them feel better. And nobody in my group acknowledged my response, and they just kind of went on and talking. I thought to myself, did I say that too quiet, or was it a dumb idea? It definitely made me feel less, from a group point of view. So I kind of brushed it off, and later on I said it again, or a different day I said it again, and we ended up talking about it. But at the time, I definitely felt like I wasn't a part of the group or felt left out. Another thing that I noticed was interrupting responses, where somebody, say Liana, would be talking about a topic, and then Amanda would butt in and cut her off. This makes Liana feel like her opinion doesn't matter. It's definitely, once again, pushes the group member away. Something we all need to work on. It wasn't just Amanda, it wasn't just Liana, it wasn't just me, but we all interrupted each other, and it hurt the group climate. Now I noticed I actually do interrupt people a little bit more. I'm not always the best listener, so in the future I'm definitely going to work on listening, because in the group, or in the book, it says, listening, you can improve that. It's by working towards it, and there's things you can do to improve your listening skills, and so I definitely want to work on that, especially in group meetings, where I feel like I know a lot about a topic. I'm going to sit back more and just listen to what other people have to say and see what I can learn from them. So today I talked about three topics: conflict management styles, specifically accommodation. I talked about power bases, legitimate power, and expert power, and then finally climate, mainly just confirming responses. When you look at all of them, they kind of go hand in hand. The goal is to make your group feel comfortable around each other, and although we succeeded at some, there was other that brought us down, such as disconfirming responses. If we could have found a healthy balance there, I think in the end, not only would we have had a better time, but we would have had a better result. And ultimately, that's what you want to try to achieve in a small group communication, or a small group, and in communication in general. I thoroughly enjoyed this class and working with this group. I think in the end, I can use what I learned to help me in the real world and at my current job, and I already see some of the skills I learned in place, such as listening better, or sitting back and letting other people speak over me, whereas I used to be a leader, or I'd want to take the leader role and not rely on anyone. So in the end, I think I was very timid about this class, but it definitely was a good experience, and I thank you, Miss Hanson, for your help along the way. Goof Troop, you guys were awesome, and I look forward to the next group project. Thank you.